from my point of view, it turned into a coordinated PR campaign to discredit someone because they had a negative experience and because they don't like one of your wrestlers. And so instead of being like, hey, we're sorry if you feel that way, sorry that happened to you, it turned into Ruby is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, here, what we'll do is we'll toss up a couple of these.
Yeah, so Sheeta did not.
This was actually kind of funny.
So these coordinated tweets were coming out, and you can't tell me they weren't coordinated because they all came out within minutes.
I will tell you what I think is that from somebody I trust, I guess, I would say it was certainly encouraged, and I would say it was let's say it was encouraged from a high-ranking female member of Tony's inner circle.
And I have two guesses who that will be, but I'm not
have said, hey, you might want to give this a whirl. And I don't necessarily think he or she thought that they would all go out running out at this, like what I picture, like that email going out to people, and then potentially that, and again, I cannot 100% confirm or deny all of, but this is something that I heard from someone I trust and who has been very accurate in their reporting of things, is that there was encouragement from within, and I don't know if they necessarily were like, all go do it at the same time.
It sure seems like it.
Well, but here's my thing is, and the only reason I would argue that is that, and this is the only reason, is that the way that wrestlers are and the way that wrestlers talk, like telephone, telegram, telewrestler, is not a joke. Like, and so to me, I feel as though I picture like that email going out like, hey, as the weekend goes on, and literally all of them sort of running to the internet within a span of like 10 minutes. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter.
It came out to me. It looks like it was a coordinated attack.
It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they were doing it like within and over the course of like 2 hours and it was just, and I don't necessarily think that it was like, go do this, and they thought they would all go do it at the same time. But it doesn't matter because the fact that it was probably potentially encouraged from within.
Well, and I think the reason it was encouraged within is because Tony has to, in this situation, has to be careful because of what he did with Big Swole.
Well,
that is absolutely why this
totally
happened.
Effed up the way he handled the Swole situation.
Right. And so he was probably, whether he decided himself or was advised from somebody else not to tweet anything because of what happened with Big Swole.
And these just aren't working for me.
And I just want to remind you that Big Swole and her child received death threats when this happened.
Right. Yeah, that's something.
And I want that needs to not be forgotten. Whether you agree with what Swole didn't say anything wrong. All she said was that she had a few negative comments. I listened to the interview that she did. What was represented by a very large media source was blown out of proportion. I don't believe that Tony even read that. I think he read the headline and tweeted based off of the headline. And then he said some terrible things. It blew up. There were wrestlers. His favorites were supporting him, just like his favorites came out this weekend and did the same thing. And they...
I mean, I'm trying to find, I wanted to show some of the ones that did come out when they came, because it was
that we'll go back to, because this Lufisto thread is important. But there's some other things that came out. So during this tweet storm,
well, this was funny because of what it was. So you read that, and I'll
during
see if I can
tweet storm, Sheeta is like just over here living her best champion life. She's like, I am just going to talk about this. And so she says, hang on, where is
there? Try and read that, people.
So Sheeta says that she says, trust myself, never use others as excuse. I'm only to improve myself. This is my motto until from now. Being the champion is not a being the champion is not a goal. She said then she's talking about how she's going back to the gym, and then somebody tweeted her and said that they heard she needed back surgery from carrying the division since 2019. She responds, "I can carry that more than 100 years, doctor said." Which I thought was fantastic. She just like, y'all aren't dragging me into this. And so she's been just living her best championship life. Yesterday, she was tweeting asking where Benedict Cumberbatch would be when they were in London. So she clearly has her priorities in order. It is interesting to me. I don't know if this was on purpose or not. No current women's champion said anything. There was nothing from Athena. Chris Statlander didn't say anything. She did like some of the tweets from like MJF and a couple of the other women. She did not put out a tweet herself. Sheeta clearly was tweeting about other things.
Well, so and then MJF put out his...
the women champions did not tweet this at all. It was, and I'm not saying that they don't have a right to defend themselves or to defend Ruby, and I'm sure Ruby is a great person, but that doesn't mean that people don't have bad experiences with her. I had a boss who was great to me, but was terrible to my friends. Both things can be true. They did the same thing to Swole. Swole said as a Black woman, she had these issues. They had Powerhouse Hop comes out and basically like, that's not my experience. Great. I am glad that Powerhouse Hobbs did not have the same experience. That does not mean that Big Swole's experience did not happen the way that she feels it did. Like, you can't negate somebody else's personal feelings because it makes somebody look bad. Like, right. That's not how this works. That's not how the world works at all. And to have it felt like, first of all, when I saw it, I just got this nasty feeling in my gut. I was like, it felt like they were discrediting her, which in a time where you have dealt with speaking out for the last few years, you going online and having your wrestlers attack another woman does not sit right with me. None of this sits right with me. It was very uncomfortable. And I have heard some things that, maybe Lufisto is not the nicest person. Maybe she's been stiff in the ring. Maybe she's done this or that. This is not on her character. This is her experience. And you are invalidating that because A, it's not your experience, and B, it's a negative experience. And I'm sure, and I don't doubt that some of these women have very genuine friendships and things like that. I'm not saying that at all. But you have Britt Baker constantly, every chance she gets, undermining Thunder Rosa's injury. And she seems to believe that it doesn't seem to be from a character point of view. It seems to be
allow that sort of thing to go on